This weekend, I watched the Netflix film starring Madhavan and Fatima Sana Sheikh, directed by Vivek Soni. This is a film that had the potential to say something genuinely important, but instead it took a great premise and did what Bollywood often does. It watered it down with stereotypes, surface level feminism, and outdated moral judgment. We're talking about Aap Jaisa Koi, a story about intimacy, shame, and second chances that ends up reinforcing the very hypocrisy it set out to dismantle. In this video, I'll highlight the four basic storytelling misses in the movie and how I would fix them. Start with the premise. A middle aged, unmarried Sanskrit teacher can't believe he has found love with a beautiful, intelligent younger woman until he finds out a damning secret that connects both of their pasts. The designing principle used in the story is to force a closeted misogynist to face his own hypocrisy through a romantic twist. The premise is great, the designing principle works, but it's the characterization and the plot that fails. Let's dive into the four misses. The setup is not believable. The central plot point that both the male and the female leads are paying customers on a phone sex app is completely disconnected from the reality of Indian dating culture. Let's be honest, on any dating app in India, women don't need to pay. They get flooded with attention, often unwanted. It's the men who pay, the men who chase, and the men who get ignored.
More than 82% of total profiles are men. Overall, लड़कियां सिर्फ 18% है.
So the idea that Madhu, a confident, attractive, sexually active woman, paid to talk to a man like Sri Renu, not realistic. And that breaks the entire suspension of disbelief. That brings me to problem number two. The characters are two dimensional. Sri Renu is the classic closet sexist, once a modern woman who is still pure. While he is willing to accept a non virgin, mostly because he himself is ashamed to admit that he is a virgin at the age of 42, he cannot accept someone who would indulge in phone sex just like himself. He has had no dating success, judges others for their freedom, and hides behind his Sanskrit teacher image. Madhu, on the other hand, is the typical Bengali feminist fantasy. She wears flimsy saris, low cut blouses, speaks French, and lives like a woke poster child. She is all aesthetic and no emotional grounding. The side characters are all cartoon level. Sri Renu's brother is an evil patriarch 101. His sister in law is a glorified cook with no real story. And Madhu's grandma, token warmth. So, when the big side plot reveal that actually is meant to serve as a wake up call to Sri Renu comes, it lands with a complete thud because no one feels real enough for us to care. Problem number three, using feminism as an excuse to cheat. This is where Bollywood just keeps on failing. You cannot wrap cheating in a sari and call it empowerment. The idea that a woman can justify infidelity by pointing at a man's emotional distance or patriarchy? No. If you're unhappy, leave. Don't sleep with somebody else or have an emotional affair and then call that bravery. That's not feminism. That's just bad writing. And honestly, it's insulting to women and to the feminist movement. This story offers no new insight. This is supposed to be a story about shame, sexuality, and redemption, but it ends up being just another men are secretly sexist and women need to somehow break free kind of a tale. How do we fix this? The first thing I would change is the way Madhu and Shri meet. Scrap the whole phone sex app thing. It's silly, it's disconnected from reality, and it just doesn't work. Instead, we, the audience, meet Shri, a successful but painfully awkward man who is still a virgin at 35 years of age. While he maintains an outward optimism, he feels completely left behind in life when it comes to sex and relationships. One night, after another evening of being the butt of jokes as the friend group's virgin, Sri drinks more than he should at a party and strikes up a deep, unexpected connection with a woman. They talk, they connect, they hook up, and he finally loses his virginity. The next morning, he wakes up with a smile and finds the girl gone. But she's left him a note with her number on the bed. Shri ignores it, since he knows that she is not wife material. In the light of the day, he doesn't even remember her very clearly. But he's glad that he's finally had at least one good experience. A few months later, in his arranged marriage hunt, he meets Madhu, a woman who ticks every sanskari box. Great family, great education, so demure she's got to be a virgin. He wrestles with the idea of telling her about his past, but is scared that she will reject him. He hesitantly brings up the topic of past relationships and asks her if she's had boyfriends in the past. She tells him that she was engaged to be married once, but it fell through after she caught her ex fiance cheating. That was the only boyfriend she ever had. Srirenu is secretly glad because, in his mind, this evens the score. And then, on the night of the engagement, she drops the bomb. I never thought I would see you after that night at the hotel. The next change I would make would be in the characters themselves. Let's take Sri Renu from being a caricature of a misogynist to an actual layered and nuanced character. So, although Sri Renu claims to be a one woman man and refuses to casually date, the truth is that he's on several dating apps but just never finds a match. Meanwhile, his friends have moved through stages of dating, engagement, marriage, and even fatherhood. Outwardly, Sri Renu moralizes and scoffs at their choices, but privately, he is deeply frustrated. He sees his secret hookup as an outlet for years of repressed desire. Yet, after a lifetime of preaching restraint and commitment, he now struggles to reconcile his actions with the identity that he's built for himself. So, when Madhu confesses about being previously engaged, this brings him a sense of relief, almost comforting validation, at least until he learns that she's had more sexual experience than him. And that knowledge leaves him feeling misled, swindled, and even betrayed. We tell the second half of the story from Madhu's perspective. Let's make Madhu and Shree's union a tragically missed opportunity because just a few months ago they would have been absolutely perfect for each other. Because Madhu was the good girl. She was engaged to someone her parents approved of until she caught him cheating. It broke her. She realized that despite doing everything right, she had now become damaged goods. So she goes on a reckless spree of one night stands until she meets Sri Renu, who is kind, respectful, and gentle. He reminds her of what she used to believe love could feel like. That night meant something to her, and when she saw his profile later on the arranged marriage app, she thought it was fate. She believes that he remembers her, and she is giddy about telling him how he brought her back to life from that dark phase. So when he doesn't remember her, and worse, he judges her, it crushes her. So she tells Sri Renu, "You think I'm dirty because I slept with 4 men? If you were hotter or richer, yours might have been 40. The only difference between us is that every time I tried, I got what I wanted. You wanted the same thing as well. You're no saint, you were just unsuccessful." And we built this moment to be the one that slaps Sri Renu awake. Aap Jaisa Koi could have been a beautiful, grounded, complicated story about shame, desire, and gender. Instead, it fell back on tired tropes, surface level feminism, and half hearted twists. But with just a few structural changes in the characters and the plot, it could have actually challenged its audience. And honestly, while we are here, why is it that Bollywood always shows families from UP or Delhi as regressive and controlling, and Bengalis as naturally progressive, feminist, and intellectual? Should I do a deep dive on this regional stereotype? Let me know in the comments and like this video if you agree, and subscribe for more no nonsense rewrites and trope breakdowns. See you next time.